Hello there! Last year we celebrated the 20th anniversary of Arma, but believe it or not, it's been already up to 10 years since Arma 3 was officially announced. There's been a lot of updates throughout the years, but some of the largest changes happened during the pre-alpha days before the release of Arma 3 in 2013. And in this video we're going to list 10 things we had in Arma 3 that were ultimately removed before the release. I'm Critical, and if you enjoy my content and want more, make sure to subscribe, like and share, as it will let me know that there's a demand for more. I have a roadmap of videos that you don't want to miss. Alright, let's see how different Arma 3 could have been. We'll begin with the largest genocidal thing, which is of course the removal of females from the game. We can see in some early footage that there once existed females during the development of Arma 3. It is quite a shame not to see females in Arma 3 because it's freaking 2035 and according to statistics they should be armed and kicking ass. Of course, 99% of you all Armaholics seem to be male, and it is unfortunate for all of you who would like to disguise yourself as female, to catfish or whatnot. But that wouldn't have been the only way to disguise yourself, because in some early demonstrations we saw the option to change uniforms with the enemy in order to go undercover and perhaps infiltrate an enemy camp without the alarm going off. This would have added an option for a clever approach to deal with daring tasks, which is the core of Arma, the freedom of choice on how to approach any mission. In the same video clip, we could see also the ability to attach explosive charges onto vehicles, which didn't end up in the main game. Of course, both of these things could have been scripted into any mission. Speaking of shady characters, Captain Scott Miller was supposed to be the main character of Arma 3's campaign. We're all used to the semi-linear campaign with Corporal Ben Carey, but back in 2011 an open world style campaign was mentioned, with RPG and adventure elements. There were two drafts. In the first iteration, the main objective was to investigate experimental weapons programs conducted by Iranian military on Altis, or Limnos as it was known back then and in real life. But Miller's team was ambushed and he was left stranded as the sole survivor, with local resistance and arms smugglers as the only allies. It would have probably been something similar to what we've seen in the Old Man scenario in Apex expansion. The second version of 2012 isn't far from what we have now, with the exception of Miller as the main character alongside other playable characters such as an infantryman, a tank commander and a helicopter pilot. Sounds very much like Cold War Crisis campaign from Operation Flashpoint, and compared to what we have now, the lack of vehicle gameplay in the campaign is unfortunate. Something underrated in Arma campaigns is the jet gameplay, and in order to view that beautiful open world we could have had the F-35 stealth multi-role combat aircraft, which would have been very cool for the 2035 setting in my opinion. Air superiority wouldn't have been the only superiority, as we could have had Coilgun Tanks and perhaps even IFVs. And it certainly looked robust compared to the current T-100 we got with its 125mm cannon. Also, on the early iterations of the AMV-7 Marshall, the cannon could be a coilgun, but this could also be a mortar variant, as that's what it looks to be compared to the real-world counterpart. Something to mention about the Marshall, there was also a 50 cal APC variant seen in one of the pre-alpha screenshots, perhaps for medevac purposes. Now, from some bigger cannons to some smaller cannons, we have the Kel-Tec KSG bullpup pump-action shotgun, which I was really excited about because it was a weapon we were teased about in a quite a close-up screenshot. The ammo capacity would have been quite something, as it would have held 2 tubes, with each tube holding up to 7 12-gauge shells, totaling 14 rounds. This could have been quite the CQB king, compared to the 2-round double-barrel Kotzlis? You know the thing, the shotgun we got in the Contact DLC. The pump action wouldn't have been the only addition. as in some very early footage we can spot the Benelli M4, which was also used in Arma 2 by the US Marine Corps, much like the F-35. It could be that they both were just placeholders from Arma 2 within the early development of Arma 3, and probably also the reason why they were removed. Then we have this quite ominous looking and sounding firearm, the XM25 Counter-Defilade Target Engagement System. In other less intimidating words, it's a semi-automatic airburst grenade launcher, aka the Punisher. This would mean that the 25mm rounds that it shoots would be programmable to explode midair in order to take out targets hidden behind cover, thanks to the built-in laser rangefinder. And my theory is that it was removed due to balance issues. I mean, it's quite brutal. Cover from direct fire would be useless. Speaking of direct fire, aside from weapons, just another nice addition would have been flash suppressors. This type of equipment would have been very effective to conceal your firing position due to the huge muzzle flashes Arma 3 fabricates. That might have been all for new weapons, but looking at older gear and vehicles, there's something strange going on. If you're thinking that they seem to be in the hands of the wrong factions, well, you're absolutely right. For example, the Mk20 used to be the standard issue for NATO forces, and there are still remnants of this when looking at the rigs of NATO soldiers with the 5.56 Stanag mags. Strange is also seeing the NATO Hunter in the hands of CZ forces, or Iranian forces, as they used to be. Yeah, the CZ alliance wasn't present in pre-alpha days, and Iran was the opposing force. And this is also probably the reason why Arma 3 was banned in Iran. Other changes include such as the AAF Strider used to be the NATO MRAP, and the CZ forces used to wield the TRG before it was the rifle of the FIA resistance force. But even stranger is seeing both the NATO Panther and Slammer as CZ armor. In this early portrayal of the 2035 setting over Europe, we can see a clear front line with Iran seeming to control the entire eastern side of the Mediterranean. Interestingly, the TRG, Panther and the Slammer with their real-world counterparts are all Israeli creations. And perhaps the reason why they were in Iranian hands was due to Iranian occupation over the region, or simply Israel was allied with Iran, possibly due to the downfall of the West and the rise of the East in the near future in Arma 3 lore. But I digress. Alright, that's all for this video. Let me know in the comments below why you think these things were removed, and perhaps even if there's something I missed. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, and I have a roadmap of videos that you don't want to miss. Thanks for watching, this is Critical, out.